John. I'm 27. I'm a truck driver. I'm from Harder, Texas, I guess you could say. I wanted to share some information with y'all and maybe some advice and some of the things that I know, some things I've learned from other people about the trucking industry, how it got started, what somebody should expect in this industry if they're new, and I guess that's about it. My experience on the road. Anyhow, I'll start with how I got my CDL. I was 19. I worked for a company, a trucking company actually. I worked in their shop, and breaking down tires, washing trailers, just about washing trucks. Every now and then I'd work on the brakes and the tires and stuff like that in the shop. And one day I approached the manager of the company, kind of owed me a little bit. And I approached him, I told him what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my CDL and drive a truck. My parents, they both drive. Kind of knew a little bit about the industry. I knew what I was getting into. I grew up around it. But anyhow, he wasn't really supposed to, but he ended up letting me use the truck to get my license. I went down to the DMV. I took my written test. I passed all of them, and about 2 weeks later, I went back to take my driving test. And I got my CDL. I think the whole thing cost me about maybe $50, something like that. Didn't have to go to a truck driving school. Didn't have to spend several $1,000s to get it in. But that's the way I got started. I had a lot of support. I knew a lot of people that drove, especially with my parents. If I ever needed anything, I was kind of able to call them, and ask them. I knew a lot of other truck drivers too. But anyhow, after all that, I want to say maybe a month later, I got my first job driving a truck for a local company. By the way, with the CDL, I have what they call an intrastate restriction. I couldn't leave the state until I turned 21. I had that restriction on my license. You can only drive in the state that you're licensed in. And a lot of states have a program like that. So a lot of people that are younger, they can actually get into driving if they know the right people or are able to find a good local company that will help them get started. In my case, I went to work for a co-op, hauling grain from elevator to elevator in a day cab Mack truck with a 48-foot Wilson hopper bottom trailer. It's a grain trailer that you load to the top and it dumps out the bottom. I did that. Man, I thought I was on top of the world. It was kind of cool. As soon as I turned 21, I wanted to go over the road. I talked to some major companies that I thought might hire me, and I actually got approved with one of them. And my dad had told me, he said, I'd rather you learn from me local driving than over-the-road driving. It's a whole lot different. Yeah, you're still driving a truck, but there's a lot to learn. Anyways, my dad found this company, and I went to work for him. And he did it just so I could team with him for a little while, so he could teach me a little bit about the rules of the road and help me get some more experience with having to go through a major carrier. This company is now out of business, but it was a good way to get started. It was hauling produce out of California out to the East Coast and back to California. I live right in Texas, so it made it pretty easy. I got to the house pretty quickly. But I rode with my dad for about 6 months, and there was a family emergency. My dad had to board a plane in Arkansas. I think it was in Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken. And flew out to see some more family, but we were loaded. And it was my responsibility to deliver the load. I believe it was going to Massachusetts. And that was my first load I ever took by myself. And from then on, I wanted to be alone. I enjoyed it, and I was pretty confident enough that I could do it. Anyhow, fast forward down the road, now I own my own truck. I have it leased on with a carrier. I have my own DOT numbers, but not using any of that right now. I'm running into their operating authority. And I guess that's about it for this video. But I'll come up with some more stuff I'd like to share with you guys about wintertime driving right now, I guess. Right now, of course, we're getting into the winter stuff. Anyways, stay tuned. I'll have more videos posted shortly.